Oh, okay. I think I've got it. Pin. There we go. Okay, sorted. Good. Great. Lovely. So we're just going to dive in. I'm going to start from scratch. So hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I've been working with different techniques, all alternative techniques for many years now, 15 years, and I've been focusing mainly on stress and anxiety. And that's kind of, we can all relate to that. We all have stress, we all have anxious moments. But what I'm noticing more and more is that that's not really the issue, not that what's coming up. People know they're going to be stressed, they're going to be anxious, and we want to clear this thing. We know we want to feel good, but really, what a lot of conversations I've been having with recently are people who have been on their own for a long time, or they've had a relationship already and they're looking for another one. And it's just like, how do you get yourself back out there? What do you do? And it's, we all know Mr. or Mrs. Right is not going to bang down the door. We've got to go out there and find people. But if you have things that are in your system, thoughts, feelings, emotions that are blocking you, and there can be all sorts of things, and we're going to dive into that through this series, then we need to clear those in order to have what you want. Whenever we want something that we don't have, there's a gap. So how do we close that gap? And it's all the triggers and the emotions that come in. So that's kind of the overview of what I'm doing for this little webinar series. So yeah, please use the chat box if you want to ask a question or you have a comment. It's great if you can interact, but don't worry if you don't want to, that's totally fine. We're going to be going into relationships, what they're about, and what those blocks are. We're going to do some tapping. I'm going to give you some homework and some pointers too. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Let's just take a moment, hands over your heart. So take a few breaths. Sometimes there can be a bit of a journey to get to a point, there can be a racing around. So just tune into your body for a moment. Take a few easy breaths, and there might be a color or an energy to help you relax right now. And if you're familiar with tapping, you can just dive in, keep your eyes closed. If you're not, or if you are, you get just tapping on top of the head, you can tap along with me. We're not going to focus on anything. We're just going to tap a couple of rounds to notice how you're feeling right now. So side of the eye, under the eye, just taking a few easy breaths. Under the nose, on the chin, collarbone. Good. And if you're used to tapping, you'll feel your body starts to relax already. Under the arm. And if you're not familiar with tapping, you're going to find that your body starts to relax when you start to tap on the thumb and through the finger points. So I'm going to send you a guide to tapping if you haven't got that with the webinar, a map of the points. It's just good just to do a couple of rounds. Middle finger, side of the hand. And what we're doing, we're just moving energy through the body, one hand over your heart, top of the head. We are resetting the nervous system, coming into the present moment, because we want to be fully conscious, under the nose, feeling good, feeling relaxed. And when you get to the collarbone, just stay on the collarbone and tap and breathe a few times. Good. Good. Put all thoughts of everything else, everyone else, to one side for this time. This is just for you. Good. And you can stop tapping, open your eyes if you haven't already. Great. Good. And just notice how you feel. That's what I'm going to ask you all the time. How do you feel now? How do you feel now? Everything you need to know is in your body. The feedback you get is in your body. We are in constant communication with ourselves and where we are in relation to what we want. So you are in relationship with everyone in your world, everything in your world, every object. You have a relationship to it. Some of those things you will have emotions that come up, thoughts that come up, beliefs that come up. But all of it is about you and your relationship with you. Everything that's outside of us is a reflection of what's inside of us. And a primary relationship, a dream partner, is whoever's in your life is showing you what's in what you are asking for. So your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, they come up in another person. And if you haven't got that other person, what is that telling you? There are blocks to yourself. There are blocks to relationship with yourself. Everything that goes on outside of you is a reflection of something inside of you. And what is a block? We hear a lot about this, don't we? Clear your blocks to money, clear your blocks to this, that, and the other. A block is hesitation, really. It's a fear. We all have fears, and they come from our past experiences. We are the sum of our experiences. And when it comes to relationships, or anything, in fact, but we're focusing on relationships, what were the first relationships like in your life? What was your parents' relationship like? Your relationship with your siblings, teachers, media. Like, I've worked with people who have a real Disney image of, knight in shining armor. It's all going to be roses. It needs to be romantic. And that can impact you on a deep unconscious level. You're not aware of some of those things. So there's that sort of present life blocks, your experiences. And if you've worked with me before, you will know there are lots of other things going on that are less obvious, and they could be ancestral patterns that are handed down through the DNA, traumas from the past through the family that we experience the result of, that we have no idea where they came from. So a good example of that is, I love this story. So there's a woman, she's cutting off this end of a loaf, piece of meat before she roasts it, and her daughter says to her, "Mom, why do you do that? Why do you cut off the end of the roast before you roast it?" "Don't know, Mum always used to do that." So she asks her mum, "Why do you always cut the end off the piece of meat before you roast it?" "Oh, Granny always used to do that." So they go and ask Granny, "Granny, why do you always cut off the end of the meat?" "Oh, my oven was tiny. I could never fit the whole piece in the oven." So we're doing this behavior. We have no idea why we're doing it. It's just because the people before, we just learned it as we went along. So some of the blocks are, we're unaware of them, but we can still clear them. In the present life, you don't need to go into the past or ancestral patterns. You don't need to know what that is, but there are processes in order to find out what that is. But there are ways of bypassing that and clearing it for yourself. So you don't need to know, because obviously, how do we know? We can't go back 5 generations and ask them what happened. The other layer of blocks, which is really important, are your past life choices. And if you've had a soul realignment reading with me, you will know all about that and what that means. So we make choices all the time, conscious choices, and they impact our behavior. And they impact how we show up in the world. And when the way we show up in the world is what brings things to us. So what does that mean in real terms? If you had a past life experience and you decided to become a nun, so I had this one, I've been a nun in a past life, in which I took a vow of silence. I mean, I think I'm over that one now. But these things can happen. And sometimes you might take a vow of chastity in that lifetime, or you might take a vow of obedience. There are different vows that you can make to another person, to a spiritual authority. There are these decisions that you make. And it's not just like a lighthearted decision of like, I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. It's like a vow, it's like a very clear decision that you then live for the rest of that lifetime. It's not going to go away overnight. Similarly, it's like a belief. So we have beliefs in this lifetime, like men are shouty. I don't know. Women get cross if you don't tell them what to do, if you don't do what they say. There are these kind of beliefs that we create through our life experiences. And you tie that in with past life decisions, past life choices, and you get the result of that is a feeling in the present day. And that's what we're working on, the feeling in the present day. The blocks and restrictions come from the past, but you can change them right now. Some of those things we can just keep consciously choosing to feel better, choosing to feel free, choosing a different belief. Some of those things you need to go back and remove those splinters, those past traumas ancestrally, or past life. So that's what's going on. So where do we start? Where do we start? You don't know what's going on. You know you haven't got what you want. There's this gap between what you want and what you have. How do we close that gap? And as I say, using EFT, which we're going to start doing that today, and different techniques to help you unplug, clear, resolve, and clear those blocks. So a block isn't stopping just one thing. You know, if you have a belief like I'm unlovable, for example, that's going to show up in a primary relationship. It's also going to show up with your kids, with your friends, with your family. You know, once the mind makes a decision, it's a blanket decision. It goes through everything. But what is it about the primary relationship that is showing up there? Why? What is keeping that person away from you? What are you doing that's keeping them away from you? And let me tell you, it's not them. It is you. And how does that feel? How does that feel that there are blocks and restrictions within you that are keeping the thing that you want away from you? It's the hardest thing as humans to, I believe, to get your head around. Like, you know, we have these conversations. Oh, I met that person and then my life changed. But what really happens is you change, and that allowed that person to come in. But because we have a chronological life, we get born, we get older, we do these things, this happened, then that happened. It feels very clear that that's the process. We do things and then other things happen, which is true. But the complexity of thoughts, decisions, behaviors to create that manifestation is so huge that it's hard for us to comprehend. So again, I'm going to break this down into really simple terms soon. All you need to do is work on how you feel in the moment right now. Check out how you feel. Do you feel loved? Do you feel approachable? Do you feel worthy of a relationship? And we find these negative thoughts and blocks and restrictions, and we clear them. And we keep doing that, and we keep doing that, and we keep doing that. I know that you don't need anyone in your life in order for you to feel loved, fulfilled, happy, because you could be in a relationship with someone and they could live on the other side of the world and you can still feel connection, love, cherished, supported. It's about the feelings. It's always about the feelings. Good. So let's do a little bit of tapping on that. So first of all, just closing your eyes and tune into your body and just get into the sense that you have blocks and restrictions in your body that are impacting you. Just how does that feel? How does that feel? What comes up for you? So there may be some frustration, some sadness, some fears. Check in with that feeling. Nice easy breath. Good. So we're just going to tap a few rounds right now just on that feeling. So one hand over your heart and repeating after me, top of the head. This feeling in my body. Eyebrow. I know that I'm keeping someone away from me. Side of the eye. And I don't want that anymore. Under the eye. I'm ready to let go of this. Under the nose. I know there are decisions in my past, in the chin, things that have happened to me. Collarbone. I've been hurt before. Under the arm. I don't want to be hurt again. On the thumb. I didn't enjoy getting hurt. First finger. I didn't enjoy the way I was treated. Middle finger. So part of me says no way. Ring finger. And that's the part that's stopping me right now. Little finger. From getting what I want. Side of the hand. Because I really would love to meet somebody. Top of the head. I would love to feel loved. Eyebrow. I would love to share my life with someone. Side of the eye. I would love to clear whatever's stopping that from happening. Under the eye. And when I realize that it's me, under the nose. I feel frustrated on the chin. I don't really want to hear that. Collarbone. I just want that to be over. Under the arm. I just want it to be easy. On the thumb. I want them to rock up into my world. First finger. I wish this would all just go away. Middle finger. I wish it was easy. Ring finger. Why is it so hard? Little finger. I've been single for so long. Side of the hand. I've been busy doing other things. Top of the head. I'm really, really ready to change this. Eyebrow. I really want to let this go. Side of the eye. I wonder what I can shift today. Under the eye. I'm not actually even going to think about who I want under the nose or how it's going to happen. On the chin. I'm just going to focus on how I feel. Collarbone. And I'm going to focus on how I want to feel. Under the arm. And the rest will fall into place. On the thumb. I want to feel loved. First finger. But right now I feel alone. I want to feel considered. But right now I feel ignored. I want to feel connected. But right now I feel disconnected. I'm just going to keep tapping. Top of the head. I'm ready to feel differently. Eyebrow. All this disconnection. Side of the eye. All these thoughts and feelings I've had. Under the eye. Can I really just let that go? Under the nose. I've had a lot of feelings about this. The chin. I've got a lot of evidence to prove that it's hard to meet someone. Collarbone. I wonder if I can do this differently. So just stay on the collarbone. Take a few breaths and just notice what's happening in your body and how you're feeling. And then think about that gap between where you are and where you want to be. And breathe. And give that a number out of 10. So 10 being really impossible. I'm never going to get there. 0 being I'm really close, or 1 being really close. How big is that gap between where you are and where you want to be? Good. So it's going to be different for everybody. So I'm going to just do a couple of rounds on this, and then we're going to look at some other elements. Good. So this time I'd like you to stay on your collarbone, but cross your hands over your chest. You're going to do some butterfly tapping. So then you don't need to think about which point you're on next. I just like you to butterfly tap, right hand tapping on your left collarbone and left hand tapping on your right collarbone, and just breathe easily. And repeating after me. I want to close the gap. I want to close the gap between where I am and where I want to be. I want to close the gap between where I am and where I want to be. I'm ready to do things differently, to feel differently, to think differently. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to close the gap. Good. Just keep tapping, keep breathing. I'd like you to visualize that in your mind. So whether that's a color or an image or a sort of visual of two elements coming together, where you are, where you want to be, whether it's trains coming together or clouds moving together or waves coming to the beach, closing the gap. Just notice how that feels. Good. Taking a few breaths here, just keep tapping and notice how you feel. Good. When you feel ready, you can just Pause the tapping. Good. So now I'd like you to really dive into what it is that you want. What do you really want? This is going to be some homework for you to think about. Maybe you already know. You could start writing a list of all the things that you want in a relationship, in a person, because they're going to represent the part of you. So what is it you want? I want physical affection. I want our families to get on. I want to eat cake with them. Whatever it is, start writing a list, tiny things, big things, of what you really want and what that feels like. So why are we doing that list? It's because you want to identify what it is that you want. What do you really, really, really want? And then how does it feel when you look at that list? How do you feel about those things that you don't have them already? What does that feel like? Write down all the things that come up. Does it feel impossible? Does that person not exist? And I wonder if you've met people, been on dates and things, and then they say one thing and you go, oh, no, that's it, I'm out. It's not perfect. And that is the problem with it. We can have a real perfection of what we expect. And if it doesn't look like that, then we can check out. So I don't know if you've watched First Dates in the restaurant, where people rock up for a first date with people. And I remember watching it once, and one woman, she'd been on 200 dates or something in a couple of years. And she was like, yeah, it's not you, just eating her dinner. She had no interest in connecting with the person. And they were like, okay, because I'm not 6'3", I'm out. Like that, she was so clear that she had one person, that one image, and if it didn't fit that picture, she was off. And that can be a defense mechanism. If it's not this, then I'm out. Great, I don't have to get invested, I don't have to get involved, I don't have to go through the hurt, because that's really what's happening. The blocks are there to protect us, to protect our heart. We don't want to get hurt. We've been hurt before, we don't want to get hurt again. But when you can go through this process and shore up your heart, because your heart underneath it all is safe and not broken. It feels like we have these stories of things that we've been through, things that have happened to us that we then make decisions about. So our first love that didn't work out, heartbreaking. Right, I'm not doing that again. The mind will make a decision, not doing that again. Going through loss, heartbreaking. I don't want to do that again. Great. If I'm not in a relationship, I can't lose a relationship. So when you are showing up for yourself and that you know that you're secure and happy, then it doesn't matter what the other person does. Obviously, they're going to impact you, and you want to be open with them and you want to be vulnerable with them, but not because of them. So it's that subtle difference between I'm happy where I am and I'm happy to share my life with someone. And that's really about needing and wanting. Like, needing a relationship puts you in a place of vulnerability. Wanting a relationship with boundaries where you feel secure in yourself, willing to go through whatever it is, difficult conversations. Some relationships are just like this, and you're there to communicate and to learn about each other. And in that learning, you're learning about yourself. And when you learn about yourself, you are healing and working through past traumas, past decisions, family traumas, ancestral patterns. Like, there's so much going on underneath that we can only deal with the top layer, basically. The emotion in the day. And it's about being willing to have as many conversations as it takes in order to create that relationship. And it starts with you. So I just really messaged someone, so I had to dive out. Great. So let's tune into how you feel about you. We're looking at the gap, what comes up there, You've got your list of what you want that person to be like and what they're going to bring. So these are things you can go away and do on your own. And now I'd like you to look at yourself, because often we're looking outside of ourselves because it's easier to look there than it is to look here. And sometimes looking at our own pain can be incredibly painful. There's a reason we don't do it. There's a reason the unconscious mind buries things. But when you do the work and you bring it out and you do bring it into the conscious mind, that's when things change. It really does. So just tune into that for a moment. What do you think about yourself when you're in a relationship? I lose myself. It becomes all about them. I'm too scared to get hurt. All these things. You can start to look at these beliefs and thoughts. What comes up? What happens to you when you're in a relationship? I haven't got time. My kids are more important. Just really start to identify thoughts and feelings that come up. Good. How does that feel? Let's tap a little bit on that. Again, butterfly tapping, because you don't have to think about it. So my intention is for the webinar for you to come to questions and then come back and do some more work if you need to. So you can write these things down, come back later. Butterfly tapping and repeating after me. There are thoughts and beliefs that I hold about myself that are keeping me out of relationship. Part of me is afraid. Part of me is scared to be intimate with someone, because if they really knew what was under the surface, they wouldn't want to know me. Part of me doesn't feel deserving. Part of me doesn't feel good enough. Part of me is just desperate to be loved. And I keep that part hidden. All these thoughts and beliefs that I have about relationships and what happens to me in a relationship. I'm just noticing all of this. I don't want to let it go. Because what do I really want? I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be loved just for me. But I know that if I am so defended and afraid of getting hurt, then no one can get close. So if I start to get close to myself and unpeel the defenses to myself and open up my heart to me, that person is going to come right in. Nice deep breath. So you may feel some resistance coming up. Tension all the time. We're tapping and diving into things. What we're saying will be triggering the unconscious mind. When we get closer to the problem, you're going to get more resistance. So just notice what happens. Just breathe and repeating after me. My unconscious mind is afraid of change. My unconscious mind is afraid of connection. My unconscious mind is protecting me from getting hurt. I've learnt from my past and my ancestors' past and my past lives. I'm not going there again. I'm not stupid. My unconscious mind knows what hurt last time, and it's keeping me safe. But what if there was another way? What if I could stay safe and be in relationship? I wonder what that would be like. When I think about my parents' relationship or my friends' parents' relationships and all the heartache that I see in movies drama on TV. Relationships are hard. No one teaches us how to be in relationship. It's a scary place. I would love to feel secure in myself so that I can feel secure in a relationship. Looking at all of these things, noticing my thoughts and resistance. And honestly, it doesn't feel like it's me. It feels like it's the universe. It's the world out there. Where am I supposed to meet these people? I go to all the places. I try all the things. It's just really hard. I would love it to be easy. I would love it to be easy. And I'd love it to be romantic. I'd love to have a great story about meeting my partner. But I'm willing to meet them however I meet them. I'm willing to find a new way. I do believe there's someone out there for me. And I can't wait to meet them. I'm opening up to the possibility that there's another way of doing things. I'm really ready for something new. Good, so just pause for a moment and notice how all those things felt. Some of those might feel true and some of them may not. Just breathe. Notice what it's like for you and come back to the feeling in your body. What does resistance feel like to you? It might be tension, it might be thoughts, it might be a change in your breathing. It might be oh, I've done this before, heard this before. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, there is another way. I'm willing to try. And when you can be willing to allow your heart to open again, even though it's been hurt, you start to let the pain out. You start to let the grief out, the old patterns, and you can then create something new. So it's really difficult to stop doing something. It's easier to start doing something else. But what you've lived has a momentum. It exists. It's a strong energy. It's never going to go away. So you need to consciously make choices to keep you out of that energy into something new. So the new you who's in a relationship, what do they feel like? And I really like that expression, new you, because it's not new, it's just different. It's like taking off that coat and putting on a new one. Your essence is underneath. So what does it feel like to be on this new coat, on this new train of energy, this new momentum? So let's get into that for a moment. Nice, easy breath. Let's go into the future. 5, 10 years into the future, whatever feels good. Imagine yourself there with your dream partner. You have everything you want. You're feeling that connection. You feel heard, seen, cherished, loved. Maybe you're on holiday together. Maybe you are just having dinner on a Tuesday night. To see what comes to mind. Because that's really the thing, isn't it? The romance, the Disney stuff is happy ever after. Life is mundane. It's the same thing. How do you find the magic in the mundane? How do you find that spark? Doing the same thing every day. Nice, easy breath. Coming back to that future picture. Maybe you see someone, maybe you're on your own in this picture, but you are in a relationship. Some people find this difficult to visualize. So if that is you, then you can imagine a color or a place or a space in nature, or just focus on the feeling of I am loved, I have connection. And 5, 10 years might be too far for you. You can imagine next week a time that feels closer. You can imagine an hour from now just feeling more connected than you do now. Whatever feels right for you, just bring in a future you. So why are we doing that? Why the future self? The future self helps you to shift into that new energy. If you could wave a wand and have what you wanted, how would it feel? This is it. Again, you're going to butterfly tap. Tune into this future energy. How does it feel to be loved? How does it feel to have that connection? Nice, easy breath. And just another note, if that's hard for you, you can create a feeling maybe with a friend or a child or someone from your past where you have felt that love. If it's hard to imagine in the future, just borrow that energy from the past. Just the feeling of connection, of love, a joyful moment. Because sometimes we're trying to create something for so long that even trying to imagine it in the future feels impossible. So just bring in a good feeling of I am connected, I am loved. So I'm going to go quiet for a moment. We're going to keep tapping on the collarbones. Just breathe and feel that feeling. If you have any doubts or resistance, just notice, breathe, let go, and come back to the tapping. Good. If you find that good feeling, just make it bigger, make it brighter, clearer and stronger. Good. So if you haven't already, close your eyes, imagine you have, and just come up above your timeline. So you can see your lifeline below you, stretching out into the past and into the future. And I'd just like you to imagine just dropping this loved energy. I am loved. I have everything I want. Down into your timeline like a drop, and just see that powering into your past, powering into your future. Just send this message of love. And as it goes into the past, I'd like you to send that along the ancestral paths and into your past lives and to all the network of people that came in to bring you where you are. All those lives that have been lived that are impacting you now, send them the feeling of I am loved. This is a really powerful exercise, so just let it unfold. Tapping and breathing. Maybe you notice colors, energy, and just send the message to anyone from your past that their pain is over, that it's time to let go. Let love live. Let love live. Let love live. Nice easy breaths. And you can stop tapping if you want to, but keep your hands over your heart. Keep sending that out, and you'll feel a shift in your body when you know that that's time to finish. And then send that forward into your future, your friends and family, the different experiences, into your communication, into every relationship that you have, that you will have, into your future lives. Notice what happens in your body when you see this unfolding and growing, this new energy. Let love live. Let love live. Let love live. Good. And from that viewpoint, you're looking over your past, over your timeline. You can look into your past, you can look into your future. Right now, we're going to cut the cords to both of those things. So you've sent out that message, and now we're just going to, for this moment, be right here, right now. So clearing connection to the past, clearing the connection to the future, and coming right into now. That might feel counterintuitive, but we've sent the message. Love's gone there. And when that feels good, just come right back down into your body. Keep your eyes closed. And again, tap if you need to. Breathe. And just feel yourself back in your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. We're going to start fresh from this moment. Feel from your feet, through your legs, up into your body and your hips. I am loved. I am loved. I let love live. I feel loved. Whatever is happening outside of me is not relevant to what's happening inside of me. I'm choosing to feel good. And that's all that matters. So just focus on that energy in your body, feeling good, feeling loved. And again, you may feel a shift in your body when you feel that that feels complete. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, take your time, come back into the here and now. So you might feel a little bit strange if you open your eyes. You've shifted something. So this is the beauty of working with timeline therapy and energy programming, because we don't know everything that's happened, not consciously. We don't know everything that's going to happen. When you can just cut that off and be here and be now, you change your emotional state in the present. So this is what I'm really getting to. This is the work you can do in the present moment. If you don't feel good, you can choose something that does feel good. And that is all you need to do from now and forever. If you find a negative thought, turn it into a positive thought. So what does that look like? Why haven't I met someone? How do you shift that into something more positive? I'm looking forward to meeting someone. You want to get that new belief, new thought that you're thinking to feel real and believable for yourself. So if it's like, oh, I might meet them today, if that feels true, great. If that feels like the next thought is, well, you didn't meet them yesterday, really check on your words and your thoughts and your beliefs and what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're doing, and check that's in alignment with, does this make me feel loved in this moment? Do I feel good in this moment? Because that's all you need to focus on. Good. So we just dive straight into it. As you can tell, I'm in there. I want you to feel differently. This is why I'm just diving into the tapping and diving into the techniques. So you're not questioning it too much. We're just doing it. So the next thing to look at is your emotional state in the present day. What's triggering it? What's coming up in the present day? That's triggering the thoughts and beliefs, the negative thoughts and beliefs. So you wake up in the morning and go, oh, I'm alone again. I mean, you might not even be thinking of this stuff. Or are you waking up happy, planning your day, and really making that for you? What do you want to do? So I watched a Louise L. Hay video the other day. I think it was from the 50s. It was a black and white video. And she said, wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, hello, I love you. How can I make you happy today? What can I do to make you happy today? And that is such a beautiful and perfect place to start. When you start to prioritize yourself and your needs and what you want, your boundaries become stronger. So it's really easy to slip into patterns of everyone else comes first. I'll just do this first for them. And you might not change your behavior. You might still do things for other people. But when you prioritize yourself and how you feel, more importantly than anything else, then things start to shift. Boundaries are key. Boundaries are key in all of this work. Excuse me. Good. So you're going to start noticing how you feel in any given moment. You're going to start noticing triggers. What's coming up for you? What am I thinking about this? You're going to start noticing your beliefs. If I think this, what is the belief that's underneath it? So I'm out shopping and I see a couple holding hands and I feel jealous. And I think, oh, it's all right for them. And I think about the belief, where does this come from? What is the belief underneath this? It's all right for other people. It's easy for someone else. You can start to look at the thoughts and beliefs that come up and really dive into that, because that is useful information for you. And then you can come away and tap it away. It's easy for other people. It's easy for them because they've got someone. It's hard for me. It's easy for them. You can start to unpick the details of what's going on and why you're triggered and what it feels like in your body. Always come back to the emotion. So if you want something in your life, as I said before, this is where you are, this is what you want, and this is the gap in between that we're trying to close. And this gap can be as big or as small as you want it to be. And as you move closer and closer to it, the resistance gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And then, the darkest hour is one before dawn. You can push through that bit and just go, do you know what? I'm loved anyway. It really doesn't matter if I'm with someone or not. I'm just going to grin and bear it. And you can kind of get through it. That's on the other side of that biggest resistance, the hardest day. There's a good day on the other side. So recently I had a really tough couple of weeks. Felt very down, didn't know why. There was nothing going on. It was just everything felt hard walking through treacle. The week after could not be more different. People were coming in, the sun was shining, it was easy, everything was flowing. And it's such a good reminder, like, of when things are difficult, good things are coming. And if you can sort of lift above, like we did with that timeline, it's hard now, it's going to be easier later. If it's easy now, it's going to be hard later. We are just on this journey of ups and downs, and your job is to stay above it as much as possible. Good. So we've covered a huge amount. And I'm going to summarize that gap. We're closing the gap. So how do you feel right now? What do you want that you don't already have? What does that feel like? What's in between the gaps? The thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, the emotion. How does it feel in your body? What is it in my past that I need to look at? So that might be, I know that past relationships I need to clear and heal. I know there's an ancestral pattern that I'm unaware of that I can cut the cord to. I know there will be issues in my past life. That's when you can book in a soul realignment reading with me, or you can do regressions. You can just kind of imagine what that might be and trust what comes in and remove the sparks, the splinters from the past. Choose something else. Choose something else. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what happened to my ancestors. I don't know what was in my past life. I choose to feel differently now. I choose to feel loved. And then you move into that future self energy and bring it in, breathe it, tap. Just choose that each time. Good. Let's do that now, tapping and breathing. And it's easy to find examples of feeling loved, feeling places where you're included. If you can find those things in other areas, like, I know my kids love me. I know that you find things that feel good around you. So for example, I think it was Gabby Bernstein's book. She talks about, I don't feel supported, I'm doing everything on my own. So she sat with that and she discovered actually her PA was incredibly supportive. She already had 100% support there. It just wasn't over here, it was here. And when she found the support there and focused on that, that sort of leaked out everywhere else. She started to find the support and love in other places. It will be there somewhere. You've got to find the love and the feeling now. And that could be from, watching the sunset and feeling appreciation. You can feel that in your body. You can notice what that feels like. Bring it in, feel it. When you feel it in the present day and notice in the present day, you're going to bring more and more of those experiences in. You can look into the world and go, some people on this planet will never see a computer, will never be on a Zoom call. We are incredibly fortunate where we are. We can basically go to an airport right now and book fly anywhere in the world. Like, you have that freedom. Your choice now is how you feel in this moment, whether you feel connected, whether you feel like you're in a relationship, whether you feel lonely and like you're not in a relationship. That is basically the choice. You are in a relationship with yourself, so choose to feel good about that. Good. So, as I say, a lot of information. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. But just let all of that settle. I'm going to send you the recording, as you know, because there's a lot to take on. But come back to this feeling now. Tap on your collarbones, butterfly tapping and breathing. Knowing your unconscious mind knows exactly what it needs to do to take the next step. And that's what we're going to focus on now. So get back to that future you feeling of I'm in a relationship, or that feeling of being loved. Just find that for a moment and breathe into that. Good. Maybe you feel warm. Maybe you feel tingling in your body somewhere. Maybe you feel more open. Just allow your breath to be deeper. And ask your body, what is my next step towards finding my dream partner and my relationship? Just ask that question and see what comes back. So the answer to that question might be something as simple as go and get your hair cut, or go and have a coffee, or go and stand outside. It might not be go and join a dating app. If we can just keep asking that one step at a time, what's my next step to get what I want? What's my next step? What can I do today in order to bring myself to that next step? And if you can keep asking that moment by moment by moment, you're going to just start following and trusting yourself, building the relationship with yourself, and that's going to bring what you want into your life. There we go. So we're coming to the end of today's webinar. I'm going to be doing a few episodes, different aspects. We're going to pull some things apart, so I will send you information on those as and when. There's a little survey that will come up at the end. If you wouldn't mind filling that in, that'd be great. And any questions or thoughts, please email me. If you haven't had a soul realignment reading with me yet, you might want to look at that, because that brings up past lives, ancestral patterns, and other unconscious blocks that we're not aware of. I also offer a life lesson reading where you can find out what you're here to learn. Again, can be really insightful. There's a clearing process with all of these. Or you might notice that you've got some emotion that you need help with on this life, and I'm here for therapy and one-to-one also. If you don't know what you need, you can book a one-to-one, just a free chat with me, or email me, let me know how you're getting on. I would love to hear how you found that. And I will see you next time. So thank you so much. Enjoy. Thanks.